General Motors have decided to do a couple of things. One of them, they're going to cancel their main hydrogen fuel cell power plant, and they're also going to spend nearly $1 billion, once again, they did this last year as well, on new engines. Hello, my friends. Welcome to the channel. I'm Sam Evans. You're watching the Electric Viking. Great to have you with us. General Motors announced this morning that they will spend $888 million US. Yeah, close enough to 900 million on a New York engine plant to increase engine production. Increase engine production was what they said. The investment at the Tonawanda propulsion plant in Buffalo, New York is a shift from a previously announced 300 million commitment to make electric vehicle drive units at the plant. So they decided instead of making electric vehicle drive units for 300 million, they'd invest 900 million on internal combustion engines. Yeah, interesting. Here's what Automotive News said. A sign of automakers adapting to slower than expected market demand for EVs, and comes after the Detroit automaker aggressively lobbied Congress to rescind California electric vehicle rules. So General Motors have aggressively lobbied Congress to rescind California's electric car rules. And as a result, Congress have overruled California's rules on EVs that were coming as well, banning internal combustion in 2035. They've overruled them and they've said, no, you can't do that. We're going to cancel that. They've also overruled some of California's other rules, and obviously General Motors was part of that. Why are General Motors doing this? Because they don't make any money selling electric cars. They make lots of money selling you gas-guzzling V8s. Speaking of V8s, General Motors said the investment will support the sixth generation of GM's V8 engines used in full-size trucks and SUVs, expected to be 1% more fuel efficient. No, seriously, General Motors said these engines will be more fuel efficient, but as you know, at best 1%. That would be best case scenario. These aren't hybrids or plug-in hybrids. They're just V8 engines. That's all they are. New York Governor Kathy Hochul said the project will support 870 jobs at Tonawanda Propulsion, including 17 jobs deemed at risk. The state plans to provide up to $17 million in tax credits in return for investment commitments. New York said last week it would pause penalties associated with any shortfalls of EV sales for 2 years. GM has been adamant in staying the course on its move to EVs, more so than other automakers, but recently it's changed its mind, pulling back on some of its previously announced EV investments, including selling its stake in a battery plant to battery partner LG Chem or LG Energy. General Motors CEO Mary Barra has said the automaker has a plan to sell only electric light-duty vehicles by 2035. So light-duty vehicles in 10 years from now will be electric only, but we will be responsive to where the customer is. I actually think General Motors will continue to lose sales outside of the United States. The US, they might do fine. Outside of the US, though, they are losing sales, particularly in China. They'll end up becoming pretty much a North American company only, because Chinese car companies will take over most of the Central and South American car markets, including Brazil. Executives have more recently positioned the company to be focused on adapting to customer demand for EVs, but the automaker has continued launching their vehicles, and it now has about a dozen EVs available in the United States. General Motors committed a $300 million investment for drive unit production at this site during the 2023 negotiations with the UAW. But production of the drive units has not begun there, and instead they're going to spend $900 million on these new V8 engines. Now, I'm curious to know, what do you guys think? Do you think anyone who buys a General Motors car with a V8 engine would have any idea whether or not it was one of these newer ones from this plant? Would they care? I mean, really? Let's be real. I mean, V8 engines still use push rods in GM's cars, right? This is like really pretty old school technology. It's not really going to change very much by spending another $1 billion on these new engines. I don't really understand the point. I think it's a waste of money, simply because, well, even if the demand is there and GM's saying, well, we can make money out of this, why do you need to spend more on this development? I don't really understand the purpose. Maybe I'm missing something. Guys, what are your thoughts? How do you feel about this? Let me know in the comments. Bye-bye. General Motors have just revealed brand new batteries they've been working on. Very interesting, higher energy density They have a certain kind of chemistry that has enabled them to, well, General Motors say they're going to use these in pickup trucks, particularly SUVs, large vehicles that need extra range, that need higher energy density batteries. This is what we know about them so far. Hello, my friends. Welcome to the channel. I'm Sam Evans. You're watching the Electric Viking. Great to have you with us. GM's so-called secret batteries will slash EV costs, people are saying. Apparently, these LMR batteries will power trucks that deliver more than 400 miles of range, like I'm talking, big vehicles. So it will enable General Motors to put smaller battery packs in bigger vehicles and still get a lot of range. General Motors and LG Energy, or LG Chem as they were formerly called, have announced plans to use lithium manganese rich LMR prismatic battery cells. So not cylindrical like Tesla, but prismatic cells in electric trucks and full-size SUVs. GM will apparently be the first to use LMR batteries. Production will begin in 2 years' time, or 2.5 years' time, at the beginning of 2028. So what do we know about these LMR batteries? Well, GM is saying that these are a breakthrough, and apparently they can be, they're simply traditional batteries that require nickel, manganese, and now apparently these batteries do not require nickel or cobalt. So that will make them more affordable, much more affordable. That's what General Motors are saying anyway. Here's what experts have said. High proportion of more affordable manganese versus nickel and cobalt, which is a big benefit. They promise to deliver a greater capacity and energy density. Now, I should point out, there is one problem with these batteries, and I'll get to what that is in just a second. MG and General Motors haven't gone into details, but they've said that their new LMR, their batteries, prismatic battery cell, has a 33% higher energy density than the best performing lithium iron phosphate batteries, despite having a comparable cost. So, is that actually true? Honestly, if General Motors can manufacture in the United States LMR batteries for a similar cost to lithium iron phosphate with 33% higher energy density, if that is true, General Motors stock should be worth double what it's worth today. Now, here's the problem. They're not GM's batteries. They're clearly like a collaboration between General Motors and LG Chem. If they were just GM's, then this should make GM's stock price literally skyrocket. But I think that there's a bit more to it, and I think there is one problem that General Motors aren't mentioning. But I'll get to that in a second. Now, what does this mean? Well, we can expect pickup trucks with more than 400 miles of range, that's about 650 kilometers, as well as massive battery pack cost savings compared to today's high nickel batteries.